From the outside, Lindsay and Patrick Clancy seem to be living a wonderful life. A young couple with 3 young children living in a quiet, safe community in Duxbury, Massachusetts. It was the kind of life that many people dream of.
But when the horrific truth surfaced, that idyllic life turned into a nightmare. On January 24, 2023, Lindsay Clancy inflicted unspeakable pain, taking the lives of her 3 young children. As the prosecution unfolds its case, the complexities of motherhood and mental illness tango with the stark realities of justice.
But on January 24th, 2023, that dream life turned into a complete nightmare when the Clancy's 3 children were all brutally killed by their own mother.
And then she proceeds to wrap exercise bands around each child's
What
neck.
led to such a tragedy? Was it a lapse in sanity or a calculated act? Before we delve deeper into the evidence, make sure you're subscribed to Shadow Jury Archives. Because we don't just cover the story, we follow the
around
evidence.
each child's neck and pull until they are dead.
Now, Lindsay is on trial, charged with 3 counts of murder and facing life in prison. But even though she admittedly did it, she does not believe she should be held criminally responsible.
Her defense claims postpartum psychosis, raising the question, how far do mental health issues absolve one from criminal responsibility? The jury's task is to discern between guilt and a plea of insanity, a tightrope walk fraught with societal implications.
To his and her ever dying regret, told Patrick in the presence of her mother that she was having psychosis thoughts.
But the implications are dire. With each revelation, the stakes become higher in a world where mental illness is stigmatized. Will the victims' voices echo louder than the defense's pleas for understanding?
Of hurting the children.
Today, day 1 of the trial that has divided the community. It's an emotionally charged case with young, innocent victims, but a killer mom with a documented history of mental illness, and a father and ex-husband in the middle of it all. It is the biggest trial of the summer. A killer mom with mental illness, 3 young, innocent victims with a dad.
As we sift through the evidence and witness testimonies, consider this: can a person be a loving mother one moment and a tragic figure in a psychological battle the next?
With a dad who is supporting his ex-wife. Will the jury side with Patrick Clancy and find Lindsay not responsible for the murder of her children? I'm Vinnie Politan. Let's investigate. Through the years, we've covered many cases involving moms and their children, moms who have taken the lives of their children. Susan Smith was one killer mom. This is probably one of the most notorious, goes back to 1994, straps her children into the back of a vehicle, lets it roll into the lake, and then she claims someone else did it, points the finger at a fictitious African-American man. Well, she was convicted. She became public enemy number 1. Evil.
The emotional weight of his testimony is palpable as he bears witness to the facts within that home. But how do his feelings toward his ex-wife influence the jury's perception?
Evil, doing it so she could get rid of her kids and get on with her new boyfriend, right? That was that case. We had the case of Lori Daybell, another killer mom. Different kind of case to a certain extent, but not really. Yeah, there's all the doomsday cult stuff, but she also got rid of her kids to be with another man, the prophet Chad Daybell, and the money that she thought she was going to get from the life insurance. Now,
here lies a ticking clock moment. Will his demeanor signal understanding or permit leniency? And what does that mean for justice in a system straddling compassion and law?
One of the other big cases that we covered, and it was a very divisive case across the country, Andrea Yates, who systematically drowned her children. 2 trials. Second trial was found not guilty by reason of insanity. This is a case of a mom who claimed postpartum psychosis. This is the case that is the closest to the one that we're dealing with here. because of the nature of what is alleged.
The skill of the prosecution hinges on more than facts. It's about perception. The jury must grapple with his conflicting roles: victim, father, and ultimately, witness to horrific reality.
Alleged and what happened. Like Andrea Yates didn't go on to live some sort of a life afterwards. Lori Daybell did. Susan Smith did. But Andrea Yates didn't, and Lindsay Clancy obviously did not. Lindsay Clancy, another killer mom in all this. But the question is she a murderer? The trial's not about whether or not she did it. The trial's about whether or not she's a murderer, whether she should be held criminally responsible for what happened to her children.
His recollections of Lindsay's demeanor upon returning to work, filled with anxiety and subtle signs of distress, paint a picture of vulnerability.
Children. She too claiming the postpartum psychosis, a combination of the drugs and the treating physicians and nurses, and it was all everyone else's fault, not her fault. That's what she's claiming. So from my perspective, perhaps the most important witness in all of this is not going to be a doctor. It's not going to be an expert. It's not going to be an argument by an attorney. It's going to be the dad, Patrick Clancy. Patrick Clancy.
This wedding marks a pivotal moment as we get closer to understanding Lindsay's mental state leading up to the tragic day.
Who is, in this case, a victim. His 3 children are gone. His ex-wife did it. Now his ex-wife. He's remarried. But even at the time that this happened, he didn't believe that she should be held criminally responsible from the beginning, and still believes that. And that's why his testimony is so critical. For all the facts, right? He can testify about all the facts happening in that home at that time. But it's also how he...
Despite the anxiety, the critical question remains: did she take her medication as prescribed or manipulate her treatment?
Pay attention to how he is saying it. Is he sending a signal to this jury that he doesn't like this prosecutor and he doesn't believe in this prosecution? Let's take a look now at the testimony of Patrick Clancy, the first witness called in the case by prosecutors.
When you returned to work, and you said that was in August, correct?
Yes.
What was the defendant's demeanor when you returned to work?
This raises crucial concerns, including whether her medications were correctly dosed and if the treatments she received were appropriate.
Increased anxiety and definitely, stressed out.
Do you recall describing her as slightly stressed but in good spirits?
Yeah.
And when she was stressed out, when she was showing some anxiety, how did that manifest?
I don't really know how to describe it. I guess it's just anyway.
The nuances of her communications regarding her mental health become an essential thread in understanding her actions.
You can tell that somebody's stressed out, and I don't know, she would say, I'm not looking forward to going back to work. I remember once she said it's just so unnatural to be separated from your newborn, stuff like that.
So she didn't want to go back to work? Is that what you're saying?
I think she did. It was just a really difficult transition for her.
And do you recall...
What does this reveal about Lindsay's state of mind? It's important to recognize the contradiction: her need for help versus her apparent lack of compliance with the prescribed treatments.
Do you recall attending a wedding on September 17th, 2022?
Yeah.
And where was that wedding?
New Hampshire.
Was it just you and Lindsay that went, or did the whole family go?
We brought Callan.
And when you were at that wedding, do you recall having a conversation with Lindsay about medication?
Yes.
What did she say to you?
We were walking downtown, and she said, I think I'm going to start taking Zoloft.
And did she tell you why she wanted to start taking Zoloft?
She said, I think it's really going to help with my anxiety and with going back to work.
And did she tell you how she was going to go about getting Zoloft?
Yeah, I asked her, how are you going to get Zoloft? It's a prescription. And she said, usually just ask the doctor and they'll give it to you.
And did she tell you that she was going to see a psychiatrist?
This reflects a desperate chase for relief amid her turmoil, but leads to an essential question: were her actions a cry for help or a
To
calculated
see a
escape?
psychiatrist?
Yeah, I believe so.
And when she did that, did she tell you who she was going to see?
No.
Did you eventually learn the name of the person who she went to see?
Months later, yeah.
Okay. And who was that?
Jennifer Tufts.
Okay. And did Lindsay tell you when she started seeing Dr. Jennifer Tufts?
No.
Did you learn, or strike that, did Lindsay tell you when she received the medication and when she started it?
No. I should correct that. It's not exactly.
Well, let me just ask a question first.
Sure.
Did you have a conversation with Lindsay about the medication she was on?
Eventually, yeah, but I didn't know the start date.
Okay. And so when did this conversation...
With every shred of evidence, a consistent theme emerges. Her choices could be interpreted as a voice crying out for help, yet they culminated in the most dreadful
When did this
act.
conversation take place, this eventual conversation?
Probably the end of October.
Okay. And at that point, what did Lindsay tell you about the medication and how she was taking it?
I don't remember exactly, but I learned that she was taking the Zoloft, and I don't remember really too much about it after that. She was just taking it, and we were seeing how it went.
And did you notice any changes in her physically during that time frame that she was on it and you weren't aware she was on it?
At the time, no, I don't think I did.
Okay. And did you notice any changes in her emotionally during that time when she was on it, but you weren't aware she was on it?
Yeah, she wasn't really improving. She just kind of...
But part of that intent muddles the lines of accountability. When we consider her state of mind, do we also factor in the devastating choices she made under duress?
Correct. I don't think she started taking it yet, but she already had it.
Okay.
Hold it right there for 1 second. I think this is an important point, and it's going to be a theme for prosecutors throughout, that Lindsay Clancy is not honest. She lies. She manipulates. She deceives. Okay? And this is really the groundwork, the framework, the foundation for that. When she starts that first prescription, oh yeah, thinking about getting Zoloft, she's already on it, or she already had seen the doctor. So she's lying to her own husband about the timing of all of this. Let's watch some more.
And did Lindsay tell you how long she took the medication for?
She may have. I don't remember the exact time frame. I just remember she took it for a period of time, and then her sleep started to suffer. So
as we reach our conclusion, the evidence presented will be pivotal. For more details, we invite you to review the court filings related to Lindsay Clancy's case. What are your thoughts on the balance of mental health and criminal responsibility? Share your insights in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Shadow Jury Archives for more in-depth analysis and updates. As we continue to unravel these complex narratives surrounding justice,